Hi guys. So this is episode 2 of Expert Nonsense, where Kyler Specs and I have an open conversation about whatever we want. This is a variety nerd podcast, whatever you want to call it. Just an open conversation about our feelings on nerdy shit. And we think that we're experts on talking nonsense. And we're good at it. We hope that you stick around and you leave your comments on how you feel about the topics we discuss in the comments below. Maybe we'll compile all of them and do a video, answering those questions one day. Also, just so everyone knows, this is also to open a conversation with the Discord community so that we can have active discussions there as well. It's a conversation starter. We want to talk with you, and I think the best way to do that is to give you something to disagree with. So, that's where we're at. In the last podcast, we discussed the arcs of Hunter Exam, the Zoldyck family. We touched on Heaven's Arena, and we've decided not to go into any more detail on Heaven's Arena just because we talked in detail about how we feel that Gon sacrifices himself um, just to learn from people, and also how we felt about Killua apparently not knowing anything about Nen prior to Heaven's Arena. We already touched on that, and we feel like if we went back and talked about Heaven's Arena, we would be repeating ourselves. So we are going to start with York New City and go from there. Also, just a reminder that we don't really edit these. It is an open conversation. So we try and leave in as much as possible. Plus, we're lazy ass motherfuckers. So, yeah, you get what you get. You get the raw data, and I hope you enjoy it.
Because we're
But
not
Kyler
going to edit
Specs,
it.
no, unless I go like this and say, "Oh, I just made my camera go all funny."
I'm going to leave that
There
in
we go.
too.
Yeah, there we go. I'm back. Unless I do that, which last time I did, but we were done anyway. So it doesn't count.
Cool
Doesn't
story.
count. Did you find $10?
I did.
Oh man, you're
Lost a
so
couple minutes on my
cool.
life, though.
Sorry.
All right, so yeah, Heaven's Arena. And everything's just kind of self-explanatory of how awesome it was with the fight between Hisoka and Gon and all that. Them learning Nen. So moving on to York New City. I think this is I guess like the first time it gets kind of really dark or starts getting a lot of darker undertones to the story
Mm-hmm.
and definitely jumps up a couple notches on like the intensity of the show, whereas before it was just kind of a not a happy go lucky, but it was definitely a lot lighter and carefree.
It was, even though it was touching on like adult topics and stuff, it did it in a way that I don't want to say made it kid friendly, but made it less intense.
Yeah.
And then starting in this arc is when it's almost like they're no longer children. Like they still have children, like they're still children, but they have a lot more intense feelings on things and are conquering more intense situations.
Like revenge and how far you're willing to go and who you're willing to sacrifice in order to get the revenge and what it
Yeah.
actually costs you to
And
obtain it.
Kurapika very closely almost becomes Kurapika
It's Kurapika.
for realsies, you know? She almost sacrifices everything, including her friends, to get what
He
she wants. Sorry, I'm so
Kurapika
sorry.
is a guy.
Eh, he
Kurapika.
he he is, and I'm sorry, that was a slip of my self.
Her brain died. No,
My brain died.
she always refers to Kurapika as a she though. So
I do not to, but I think that like I'm not the only one. I swear, like everyone who watches that, they're like, "Oh wait, that's a guy?"
I wasn't.
Well, you don't count.
Okay.
But no, and I think that we just get super intense in this arc, and it shows more adult situations and stuff like that. It also kind of highlights Killua's advanced strategy props
Yeah, it definitely
as
goes more
well.
into his background and like his training when
Mm-hmm.
like when he was him and Gon were tailing um what Nobunaga or
Nobunaga.
Nobunaga, the samurai guy, and the pink haired chick. Crap, what's her name?
Mm-hmm.
Michi. Miki.
I forget her
No.
name.
Yeah, the string lady that can sew arms back on. Um, when or when they were when we yeah when I was tailing them with them. Um,
When we were there too.
when they were tailing them, just the inner monologue of Killua kind of just assessing everything and overthinking some things and just what how he was trying to plan out like for everything, and if this happens then I can do this and this. Like that was kind of cool, and it helped deepen his backstory and just his character in general. So he's not just like oh, he was a kid who's an assassin who doesn't want to kill people, or he's bored, so that's why he's here. So I thought that was really cool, and I like the troop members are awesome. Like I really like.
Well, we're jumping to the troop. I have a lot to say about the troop.
I mean, we can go back. It was just.
No, I'm fine with it. I'm just like I didn't know if we were gonna go into more about the almost like the change in Kurapika a little bit, like before we go into the troop. But we can do that after. It's up to you.
No, we can go now. I was just because I was thinking of when they realized that, or Killua realizes that the troop's onto him, and they go to scatter and run away, and then Sphinx jumps up to the top and like catches his legs,
Mm-hmm.
and he like breaks out. I don't know. So that was awesome.
It is. It's one of the best scenes in that part because I just feel like up until that point, like you get a glimpse that Kilo is smart as fuck, but until they're put in a real life situation like that he has to problem solve, it really highlighted how smart and how strategically savvy he is from his training. Um, I do think that his training was very self-centered. So when they train them, it's how do I get myself out of here? And I feel like they do kind of also highlight, like, he was thinking, I can only get one person out, myself or Gon, because his training, in my opinion, was most likely very self-centered of, you're in this situation, how do you get yourself out? Not in a team scenario. And in that regard, I think that his strategy skill was almost lacking, but then Gon stepped up and was like, hey, no, motherfucker, we're going together. You know? So I think it also highlighted his deficit as well, with highlighting how awesome he is.
Wait, so are you talking about when they're going to tail him?
No, when they got captured.
Oh, okay. Uh, yeah, I thought we were still on. You're talking about like his planning for when they were tailing him. I didn't know you jumped
No,
to.
no, after when they get captured and like the samurai guy and they're like sitting in the same room
Yeah.
and they have to try and get out. I'm talking about then.
Okay.
Do you not agree?
No, I do. I was confused about because that's the second
You
time they
better
get
agree
captured.
with me.
Because that's the second time they get captured.
True story.
So you kind of jumped.
Sorry. I
uh,
got so excited. I have a lot about York New City. I like this arc.
I think one of my favorite scenes is when Crollo's doing the symphony.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crollo's hot.
Is it the tattoo?
He's just fucking hot, man. Like, I saw him and I was like, if I wasn't already committed to Killua, like, we,
I'd calm down on that a little bit because Killua is 12.
I know. Like, I not commit, oh God, not committed in that way, but like, as like my favorite character.
I feel like if he had more screen time, Phaeton would be more because that's your.
Phaeton's actually number 2, though. Crollo's just kind of like hot. Because like, they don't really go into Crollo really all that much. They don't go into Phaeton either until later. But Phaeton reminds me of Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho
Well, he pretty much
a
is
lot.
just a copy.
I
Like
know, and I
Knuckle
just,
is a copy of Kuwabara. I mean, same
yeah.
author, so he's allowed to do it. But
Yeah. Well, the Phaeton Hiei character is like, that's my favorite character every time.
except when they did Sasuke, it was Sasuke's diet Hiei, but just more
Uh,
whiny.
Sasuke is a bitch.
Have fun in the comments below. Tell us why you think Sasuke's a bitch.
If you agree Sasuke is a whiny bitch, please comment below. Oh, that'd be a good TikTok.
We'll clip that. But I don't know.
No,
Like,
but
Krillow's cool. He's just, Like, because a lot of
there's
people are like,
something
oh,
sexy about him.
yeah. But a
That's
lot of
all I got.
people, like, Krillo is a fan favorite. And a lot of people really, really like him. And like, oh, he's the best character. Like,
He's just hot. He has no substance besides that for me.
yeah, well, he has no story. Everything's a mystery, and that's kind of like the whole point. He's like, oh, his story can be anything, and that's why he's appealing. because no one really knows who he is, and like he doesn't really talk about it, and like he doesn't know what his purpose is, and blah blah blah. He's all deep and philosophical, which is
Well,
cool, but
technically, we don't know any backstory really on any of the Phantom Troop
yeah,
as well. So I think that's part of the whole Phantom Troop
yeah. Well, I mean, like
in
there's
general.
kind of glimpses of it, like Nobunaga and the big
Yuvo,
what?
you,
Oh yeah,
Yuvo.
Yuvo. Them how
That's
they
it, right? Yuvo.
I don't know. That's what we're calling him now.
Okay,
um,
the big guy.
Uvogene, something like that. But like they kind of grew up together, I think, because they were friends before they joined the
They were friends
troop,
before
before
the troop.
the
Yeah,
founded troop, and but I don't know. Krillo's just he's just kind of there and to be like mysterious. So like I
he's
don't know,
just
he's cool, but he's like like
he's
he's
the
definitely not a
mysterious
favorite.
eye candy. That's what he is.
Well, I mean,
It is cool when he has the fight with the Zoldycks.
yeah,
That's a cool part. But going back to just talking about the Phantom Troop as a whole, I would love like a I don't know if it should be a spin-off or and
probably like an OVA.
I don't know if there is already something like this where it's literally only talking about the anime just as a reminder. We're not going past where the anime ends and stuff.
Yeah, because
But
definitely Krillo has some more stuff in the manga, but
but I would love like a spin-off or an OVA that touches on Meteor City and the Phantom Troop and to learn more about them. And my reason for this is sorry to jump, but it's just like a little minor jump. But later on, when they resurface again in the anime in the Chimera Ant arc, you see a glimpse of like goodness in them because they're trying to protect Meteor City. And that scene had me more hooked on wanting to know more about the Phantom Troop and all of its members. That had me hooked to know more about them more so than the whole arc of York New City, to be completely honest, because I feel like they're set up to be, because you see it through Kurapika's eyes, pretty much, that they're set up to be these ruthless killers
eh,
that don't give a shit.
not really.
Uh,
Like they care.
They care about each other.
Yeah, they care about like family, or like the Phantom Troop is their family, and
Yeah, but outside of that, it's not evident that they do until they protect the city.
yeah, but
And
that's
I was
their
just,
like homeland thing, and there's like
I
a
know.
kind of weird, not perverse loyalty, but like just like a pride and that people from Meteor City share, and like a
Canary's
protectiveness.
from Meteor City as well, the butler.
Yeah,
But anyway, so that was just my little hop, was after seeing that scene for me, I was just like, I really need to know more about these characters and about Meteor City, you know?
and it's definitely
Um,
set up to go back to Meteor City later on. Oh no, the this is jumping ahead, but the boss's name from the NGL,
yeah,
like he's like it was definitely kind of setting up to for him to become another, like, a big bad
Mm-hmm.
later on. And I think he's from Meteor City. So I feel like it would circle back to there after where they're at now in the manga, like the Dark Continent and all that. Like once Kurapika's story arc comes to a close, I think it would circle back to Goning, Killua, and them going to Meteor City.
Mm-hmm. I just want to insert here because I forgot to say it in the beginning. I did just kind of say it. We are only talking about the Hunter x Hunter anime from 2011 to 2014, the most recent one. Um, we're only talking about that. We know that the manga goes beyond it with more information. So we are keeping our scope to we've only watched this and our feelings specifically about this anime and how it made us feel about the events and the characters. Because some of our opinions, if the anime were to go on longer or if we were to discuss the manga that goes on longer, might change. We're keeping it very condensed. So keep that in mind before you troll the comments.
And I would highly recommend the manga because there's a lot of cool stuff that happens after. Like Krollo has another fight, not getting into that, and then it kind of switches the perspective and it follows Kurapika more. Or uh, completely, actually. I think it like completely switches. And it follows him, and I think some of the troop members are there as well. But them going to the Dark Continent, which Gene talked about with going at the end of the anime, in like the last episode where he mentioned it. So it kind of just ties into that. But there's a lot of cool shit. Kurapika becomes a freaking beast.
Hey,
So I
stop.
highly recommend it.
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm not. He's already a badass, but
Stop it.
so you get to watch him grow.
Yeah. Well, back to what we were talking about. um yeah, like I like the arc of York New City, and one of my favorite things that became clear to me in York New City as we got to meet more people, including like the Phantom Troop. I just think it is so cool, like how people come up, like as the writer of Hunter x Hunter. I'm blanking on his name.
Tagashi.
Yeah. Um, I think it's just so fun and cool, like when you're writing a story to come up with the way that people use their powers, you
Yeah.
know? And like the limitations that they have. Like I'm thinking of what's the girl's name with the vacuum? But like using the vacuum to like suck up everyone, and then she's like, "Oh no, he can't suck up anything living."
Is it Minchi? No, Minchi's the pink hair chick. I know the vacuum's name is Binky.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Uh, I know the
But
vacuum's name, but I don't know the chick's name.
just the way that like I just think it's so fun and creative how like any writer. I'm not just specifically talking about Hunter x Hunter right here, but just seeing Peoples
Piaples?
seeing People's creativity in creating characters and how deep the creation goes.
Especially with like the like superpowers and like what they're
Mm-hmm.
able to do. Like My Hero Academia, kind of the same thing with like the different quirks and
Mm-hmm. I
everything.
just think it's so cool, and it's so clear when it's been thought out as well. Like instead of, oh, let's just decide that they can't do this. You
Yeah.
know? Like later on,
Like
like it's
Alicus.
yeah. But just how in depth and thought out each character's nen ability was. Um, and just in general with writers. I always think that's so cool, you know? Like, were they just like looking at a vacuum one day and was like, oh, like she should be able to suck up dead bodies with a vacuum?
It seems legit.
Oh.
I mean, he
So,
could have just like killed a bunch of people and they're just there. He's like, I gotta clean this up. And he saw a vacuum. He's like, oh man, I wish I could just vacuum them up, get rid of them. He's like, hey, wait a minute.
yeah, but I just always think that's really cool in any story, like not just anime or whatever, like books and just writers in general. I love seeing the creativity come out and in-depth thought
The only
for.
downside is, and I don't know why they do this, but it's regardless of what you're watching, if there's some kind of power involved, it's literally every time they use the ability, they have to explain it.
Yeah.
Like, especially with Hisoka. Oh, my aura contains both properties of rubber and gum from my favorite chewing toy. Like, literally every time he uses it and he fights somebody new, Hisoka explains that. Did you know my aura contains properties of rubber and gum? It's like, yeah, we get okay, but they do that every show does that, and I guess it's just
Well,
like a
and
trope
God forbid you use um your power
and not call
without
out the name.
saying what it is.
Mm-hmm. There's like
Rasengan!
there's there's rules you have to follow. It's you have to say the ability,
They're the anime rules.
you have to say the ability, you have to explain it in a condescending way,
hmm
and if someone has a final form, you have to let them transform before you fight them.
Oh, and there always you have to think you're done, and you're not done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think you've won, but there's gonna be a level up or five.
I think there's only been one anime where they didn't let them transform, and that was Attack on Titan towards the end.
Oh.
But it's relatively new, so I won't go into it. But yeah, they definitely broke that rule of letting the enemy transform before you fight because they got destroyed, and it was hilarious.
Wasn't it like I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers growing up, so I only watched a few episodes, but like, isn't it Power Rangers that like every single Power Ranger fight is exactly the same?
Pretty much, they meet Big Bad.
They
Uh,
defeat Big Bad levels up into big giant
Well,
robot
they
type
meet Big
thing.
Bad. Big Bad summons putties. They defeat putties, fight Big Bad, defeat Big Bad. Big Bad becomes Big Bad. They make Megazord, fight Big Bad, beat Big Bad. Literally, that's the formula.
Okay. Anyway, we've gone off topic. So did you have anything else on York New City?
Trying to think. I got distracted. Now I want to watch the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie with Ivan Ooze. Such a
I
good
just know that I was obsessed with the pink and the yellow ranger, but I knew nothing about them because I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Well, which
But
Yellow
like
Ranger? Because they switched them. Are you talking about like Trini, like the original Asian one, or when they
the
switched her?
one that was with Kimberly.
So Trini. Okay. I think.
Yeah. Because I watched a few episodes at a friend's house once and I was just like, but I need to be that badass.
Well,
Like,
that's why you weren't allowed to watch it because you started karate chopping people.
yeah. And then I watched Xena the Warrior Princess and I got in trouble.
Yeah, and that show did not age well. Dear
No.
God, I think it was almost a year ago now. It was on like Netflix. I was like, oh yeah, let's watch it. Not even 10 minutes, and I couldn't do it anymore. It was very
And
very
I think I was
cringy.
super excited too because of the story that goes along with my childhood, where I was banned from watching anything that had any type of fighting because I tried to replicate being Xena the Warrior Princess on my sibling. They didn't even get hurt. I was the youngest. Whatever.
By a lot
Anyway.
too.
Yeah, I'm a lot younger than my siblings. They were not hurt, but apparently just doing that was unacceptable. But anyway, we're digressing.
York knew.
I don't really have anything else on it except for the fact that I met Phaeton and was like, I love you.
It's Hiei. Where's your
It's
Chikana?
Hiei. Yeah. And I just love how I just love that, like, I don't give a shit attitude.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next is Greed Island. And I have a comment on Greed Island that is more like a question because I'm not sure that okay. See, this is why it's a conversation and why we need to eliminate as a nerd army, as a community, like it is okay to get facts wrong and it's okay to ask questions and people should answer the questions that, or if someone gets a fact wrong, it shouldn't be that they're not a fan or um they're posing or whatever. Because I actually have a question about Greed Island that I was waiting to put in this uh, podcast because I want to promote that, like, you can enjoy something. And what am I trying to say,
I don't
Tyler? Oh.
know. um,
Like you're trying to like you can enjoy something and not know every little detail about it. And you can be a fan of something.
it's not about who has the most knowledge.
And you should want to, like, if someone doesn't know something, think of it as an opportunity to make a new friend to discuss further, not to shun someone or shut them down. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that really pisses me off.
So don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, don't be a dick. That's right, motherfucker. But anyway, so Greed Island, I think it's super cool. Again, with the creativity part. Well, I guess it is also kind of like Sword Art Online. Like you go into the video
Yeah, it's
game.
just a mini isekai.
Yeah. But I just think that that's such a creative, like I know it's been done. Okay. But every time I see it, I'm always like, it's such a cool creative idea, you know? Like I know it's been done a million times, but I just don't get over it because there's so much you can do, and I'm gonna
Well,
digress.
technically, they don't actually go into the game.
I know. Which leads me to my question.
Okay.
But if I say where they go, is that gonna be a spoiler?
Eh, well, it's in the anime, and if they're this deep into the video, I'm pretty sure they've seen it. And if they get mad that, oh, they're not actually in the game, they're on an island, then it's kind of your own fault for watching this far.
Yeah, so spoiler,
They're on an
they're
island.
not they're on an island that's like in real life. It's not a video game. But anyway, my question is, which I think I know the answer to, but I'm not sure. When you first think that they're in a video game, you're like, oh yeah, that's cool because they have all these things that aren't available in the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you realize they're in real life. So are all those things like the book that he can create, which I guess, yeah, the book that's created, like all of the cards that they collect that can do things. The people who made Greed Island, was it using their Nen abilities to create these things and like storing, like for instance, storing the Nen in the card so then when someone uses their Nen, it like activates it to work?
Okay, so I'll try to explain at least my theory on it.
Oh, so there isn't like a like
No,
legit thing.
it doesn't explain
Oh, I
how.
feel better now that I didn't just like miss something huge in the thing.
Yeah, no, it doesn't explain how they made it. I'm assuming because they at least need a conjurer and a transmuter, at the very
Mm-hmm.
least, to
Right.
obviously transmute the cards from card form to the item or whatever. Then the conjurer is for the book, and uh, I'm assuming it's. I don't know how exactly it works for the territory. I'm assuming there's like an N set up around the island that when they activate a spell or a book inside the N, the the N recognizes it and then activates the Nen that's attached to that card, and that's what makes it pop up. Because
Mm-hmm.
N, it's an aura or something spread out over large distance. That it's N, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Co is your body. Okay, so no, but the person, someone has to be there. Maybe that's the chicks in the machines and shit.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably hooked up, and it's on various parts of the island. Because I know there's two of them, the twins. So they're
Right.
probably set up around the island, and they're hooked up to that machine, and that machine uses their Nen to create the N to encompass the island. So, because the N can sense anything in its vicinity, and
Mm-hmm.
like the machines, I guess, help with just the sheer amount of data. So when they recognize the spell or incantation, and those Nen markings on the ring probably help too.
Yeah.
So there, and it allows it to either transmute or conjure certain things. And then they probably have some of the Nen abilities are like Angel's Breath is probably a Nen ability that they're able to put into a card.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, were they
Yeah,
putting
so they
like,
probably have a Nen user who is, I don't know if it'd be a transmuter or a conjurer, or a specialist that is able to take people's Nen abilities and
mm-hmm.
put it in a card. Like Krillo can put it in a book and use it, right? So
Right.
it
I
maybe
guess it's
something
that
like
same
that.
kind of concept. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel better that it's not like I thought it went over my head or something.
Yeah,
So
and they don't
I
really
feel
explain
better.
it. It's just it it is what it is. It don't really like you don't have to question it, and there's no like crazy like circumstances that like kind of pull you out of believing that it's a world. And then plus, you think it's a video game, so you're like, oh, shit happens. It's absurdity. You just kind of go with it. Like you just,
Right.
oh yeah, they can do that. That's cool.
Well,
And
that's what I was saying. Like when you first go in and you think it's a video game, then you don't think, oh, how is that even possible? And like looking back on it is when I was like, wait, like they're not in a video game. So how's that work? So for anyone watching, if you have a different theory on how it's set up to work, please comment below because I'm actually kind of interested to see
yeah,
what other people think
I think it's
as well.
a mix of Nen and computer programming
Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, maybe he picked those specific people
for their abilities.
for their abilities, that their abilities made it possible for the game to be created.
Mm-hmm. And it's
So,
like if you think about it, the game came out like what, like a decade ago? Yeah, because he made it when Gon was a baby. He brought him there when he
mhm.
first created it. So literally, the twins and the machines, they've been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
Razor has been there for 10 years. The
Yeah.
the people in the room at the end, I forget their name with all the fucking trash and fast food.
Wayne
Yeah,
or
Dwayne,
June?
Dune. Um, they've been there just chilling in that room for 10 years. So
Yeah.
it's, I'm sure they have to be there because, like, other than Razor and the twins, like, because Razor protects, like, the perimeter and all that to make sure it happens. And then the twins are I guess, like, the gatekeepers, which for me kind of goes towards my theory of they're the ones hooked up to the machines using N to
Mm-hmm.
cover the island. But like Dune and the other guy, like what the fuck have they been doing? Because like they're like, and with all the trash, it shows that they're literally just there.
Yeah.
Like they're not doing anything. They're not going. They're just sitting there, and
Yeah.
they don't do anything. So it goes like, why are they still there then?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they have to be, and for their abilities or whatever, because obviously all of them are Nen users, but it never
Mm-hmm.
actually talks about Dune and uh, the other guy. Like it doesn't talk about their abilities at all, or if they're even Nen users. So
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like there's
true.
a reason they have to be there. But yeah, it is very very interesting on how to like logically explain how it works. But I feel like it would also kind of like it's not needed. Like
No, it's not
yeah,
needed.
because like the
It's
theory
one
I
of
came
those
up, I just
things.
like I didn't even think about like the chicks being hooked up to the machine. Like I didn't really think about that before until you said something. Then I was like, how would that work? And it took a couple seconds to somewhat
When you're
rationalize it so
watching
that it
it,
works.
yeah, when you're watching it, it's not something that,
It's like,
at least
wait,
for
what?
me, that I even thought about. It was, after you've watched it the 17th time and you're, reflecting back, that's when I thought of like, wait a second, like how is this done? Like more in-depth thinking on it as reflecting back. But question, maybe unpopular opinion. Do you think, like we all know that Gene is an absent father, obviously, but do you think that this, because we know that Gene made Greed Island for Gon, right?
Ish,
So
yeah.
do you think that he didn't know how to parent, and he's so good, as we find out later, he's so good at predicting what people will do and strategizing. Do you think that all of this was his way of parenting to guide Gon? Like, it's not the best way, obviously, but his way of parenting and teaching Gon as his father.
Like, I'd say yes. Because, like, obviously, I think that Gene cares about Gon, and, like, I wouldn't say he loves him, because I honestly don't know him enough to know if he actually cares about, like, family. But, like, from, the backstory you get about Aunt Mito and how Gene kind of took care of her and, looked out for her and everything. Like, obviously, he cares. It's just not in him to be a father. Like, he's not built that way. And,
Mm-hmm.
like, he still cares about him and he wants him to, like, be strong and grow up. So I think for Greed Island, part of it was to train Gon, but I think the majority is just it's what he does. It's just like if he didn't have Gon, he would have created the game anyway, most likely. I feel like he would have still done it. And
Yeah.
but so I don't think he did it solely for Gon, like, oh, I need to make him stronger. I'm gonna do this. But I think it might have become kind of a driving force on how he created the game and what,
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess, like, the minute details of how the game is played, what to do and everything, because he's all about it's for rebuilding society. And like, for Kite, when the lost civilizations, where he would dig it out and restore it and pay it all with his own money and then give it back to the community. He's all about helping everyone, and that's literally what
Mm-hmm.
the game was to make
He
everybody
helped all the
stronger.
people all the people who helped make the game, they gained something. Like,
Except
he
Dune, he
helped them.
lost the D.
Yeah. No, he lost his W.
Oh, his W. Oh, Dune.
Wadoom.
But so
Um,
he's definitely he the Greed Island was to train hunters, to make hunters in general stronger, was the sole purpose.
mhm.
But I think as he was developing and Gon was born, he would have, or maybe started doing certain things in mind of Gon to help him personally.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. He's just not built to be a father. Like, obviously he cares, but raising, like, pretty much he has better shit to do. He's like, like, you're cool, I like you, but I want to do my own life. If I
I
took you
think
with me,
that
you'd end up probably getting killed or other stuff. And I know, my cousin Aunt Mita, who I grew up with, like, she would take care of you, and you'd have a better life than what I could give you. So he's
yeah.
like, here you go. So I think he
I
cares, but he's just like, he doesn't want the chains of that.
I kind of think that everything was preparing Gon to get to a point, potentially. Now, this is just like a random theory in my head, but to get to a point where he can take care of himself and hold his own, so that potentially he could go with Jean and have that relationship, but Jean is so caught up in what he's doing that the only way that they could have any type of relationship is if Gon can hold his own.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think. Like
Let's
he's no good.
like
What?
I was just thinking about it. Like we we don't know what Gene's net is. We don't know what category he's under. Netero said he would put him in the top one of the top Nen users in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But we never. I don't think we've seen him use Nen, or if he's like an enhancer or like we don't know what he does exactly.
Yeah.
And
We just know that he's an asshole, and like the majority of people actually think he is an asshole.
yeah, well, I mean he
Like they
is.
respect him
Yeah,
for his abilities, but it's like,
he's very selfish.
yeah, and like
Which it
everyone,
kind of makes sense because like Gon's the same way.
yeah.
It's just he's a
Do
kid,
you,
so they like excuse it.
yeah.
But Gon
Do
like literally
you,
acts like Gene.
that's true, he does. Do you feel, I like how I'm like interviewing. What the fuck? I have a lot of questions.
I
Um,
have maybe answers.
do you feel like you need to know who Gon's mom is?
I feel like it's
Do
going to
you
be important to the story
like later
eventually.
on maybe?
Like same thing with uh,
Alika and Nanika?
a little bit.
How that
Well,
all came
I was
about?
going in the direction of Yusuke's dad. Of Yusuke's dad being like the Demon King and shit, and it wasn't until like the very end it was like, oh hey, look, this
Hey,
missing parent.
you can't spoil a different anime.
It's old as shit if they haven't seen it by now, and it's by the same author.
Come on, man. But
Plus, I
yeah, I
never said
agree.
the actual anime's name, so how many
Okay.
characters in anime do you think are named Yusuke?
Well, you say that name and I only think of one.
Yeah, well, that's because you've seen it, so you know what I'm talking about.
True. But
But anyway,
anyway,
so usually if there is a parent that has not been involved, and especially because there's foreshadowing of a specific scene when maybe that's Gene's ability. He can transfuse Nen into machinery because he has the tape, right? So maybe that's part of it. Um, when
and
he,
that would make sense for Greed
it
Island too.
would. Maybe my theory's close, but he like asks him at the end of the conversation. He says, "If you want to know about your mother, keep listening," and he stops it.
True.
Like that's a heavy foreshadowing of like obviously his mother was someone. I think. Well, obviously she's someone, but someone important, and it like kind of goes to, is she dead? Is she in a worse spot than Jean is? Because why doesn't she have Gon? Why couldn't she take care of him? So maybe she
Yeah.
died in childbirth. Maybe
But
birth. Maybe her lifestyle situation. She is unable to actually raise a child. Maybe she's from the Dark Continent. We don't know.
maybe she's like really well known or of, I don't know, like thinking, like my thought process was like maybe she's of a family that frowned upon the relationship or, whatever that might be. And she couldn't keep him or acknowledge him.
my theory is his mother would tie into either the Dark Continent or Meteor City, and or same thing with the boss of NGL. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be somewhat connected. Was it Nero? Fuck, dude, I can't remember his name. I don't think it was Nero. But there's, I don't. I feel like she is either connected to the Dark Continent and or Meteor City, that would somehow tie it back to Gon. So after the Dark Continent, it's you have the characters that were developed there kind of transfer over this arc to keep it connected, since it'd be switching kind of main character perspectives. Even though Hunter x Hunter is more of an ensemble, not a like Gon's not the protagonist. It's more of an ensemble. Gon, Killua, Krapika, and not really the Oreo, but like he's starting to learn then, so maybe like once he becomes a doctor, I don't know. But I feel like it would be transferred over from the Dark Continent. So some characters were established there will have a connection with Gon's mother that leads them to Meteor City, which then the whole NGL thing and all that comes into play. But that's again not gonna happen because Tagashi's probably gonna die before he actually writes anymore. Like, I feel like he should just storyboard and let his wife do the manga. Like, his wife created Sailor Moon. She can fucking
Yeah.
draw and she can make stories. Now, I'm not saying Sailor Moon's like an amazing piece of story literature, but I mean, she can at least draw and he can storyboard, and then like they can continue. Because I know, I
Maybe
guess
they
in
have some prenup that's like, don't touch my shit.
well, no, because in interviews he's already said that he has told her the entire story
That's
for
unfair.
her to finish in case he dies.
Oh,
But and he's getting old now, 50s or 60s, I think.
it's not old.
But he's had terrible health issues for like
Well,
15-ish years.
whatever.
So, like, I don't know. I highly doubt uh, the anime is gonna continue unless he sells Hunter x Hunter to another mangaka artist. But
Yeah,
I don't know, I there might be a couple more chapters here and there and everything. Maybe he'll finish the Dark Continent, but I don't see the story actually being fully completed at all.
probably. But um
But yeah, Gene's a dick.
yeah, he is. But you know who I love is Bisky.
Bisky.
I love Bisky. Like, I think that she was such a good addition and such a good teacher.
Yeah.
And I think that I just really like her. And I love that she comes back later because there's those core people in this anime that have a significant connection to the original, not original characters, but Kilo and Gon that you see, but there's also a lot of people that you just don't see again that had significant parts, you know? Um, but they don't come back to help again, really. And I just really liked that. I kind of feel like in Hunter x Hunter, you have Pervy Hisoka who follows along for his own grooming issues. But like each arc kind of just has people and then kind of just has people. That's very descriptive. But
and they
then
do
when that
things and they say
that do
things
things
and they
but
create a
then
plot.
but then when you move on to the next arc, it's like all new people again.
Yeah, which like I don't know, I kind of like because it keeps it refreshing, but
True.
it's also
Makes it
it's
hard to cultivate a serious connection with people, though.
true, but like it's kind of on the same vein of what Oda does with One Piece. Though I would argue that Oda does it better of introducing like characters, like having a little bit of kind of like backstory just to form a connection, and then they fucking disappear for like hundreds of chapters and then come back,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like very
Except for
important.
Foxy. Foxy can just
Yeah, yeah.
go away.
Fox. Uh,
We're not going there.
yeah. So like he's very good at introducing a shitload of characters, which I think where we're at, we're pre time skip in the anime. So like
For
I've
which anime?
oh sorry for One Piece, we're not that far into it. I've seen farther, but we're currently watching it together, and we are at Sabaody.
I watched without you last night.
You whore.
I'm so
I know,
sorry,
I
but
heard it.
okay.
It's fine. But like there's the oh no, what are they called? The Rising Stars, or the oh, it has to do with something like space wise, like a like the
Completely lost in what you're talking about, to be completely honest.
hold on, I'm trying to think of anyway. He introduces like 12 or 13 characters, and like they do the whole like freeze frame on their face with their name and kind of like a character detail list, and it's like 12 or 13, and you're like, what the fuck, like how am I, that's a lot of people to keep track of. And then maybe like one or to three of them are actually kind of supernovas, the supernovas, there we go. Fuck you, comment section, I got it. So they introduced the supernovas, which
So
Luffy's kind
lost in
of
this
a part of,
conversation.
and they and it's like holy crap, like he introduces all these characters but they don't really have much to do with the story, but they have like small moments that kind of make you connect with them, but then they kind of go away, and then in future arcs they come back, and when you see them you're like oh shit, and you get excited about it, and then they help drive the story forward, and then you get more details about that, tying it back in for to Hunter x Hunter.
I
He does a
understand
good
what you're
job
saying.
of bringing characters in for a certain point, but
And making you be attached to them.
yeah,
In Hunter x Hunter, people come in and you're just like, okay, they're there.
yeah, but all of them have like a purpose. They're not just like characters that
They
are
have a
there. They're not like
purpose.
Sakura where they're just there but they don't actually do anything the entire show. They help move the
We're just throwing out all kinds of controversial issues, aren't
it's
we?
not it, that's not controversial. There are no Sakura fans. Sakura fans, leave a comment. Watch, there's going to be no comments because no one likes Sakura.
There's gonna be no comments because no one's gonna watch this,
That's not the
Tyler.
point.
Not because
No,
there's
it's
no
because
Sakura
no,
fans.
it's because no one is a Sakura fan. That's the reason why there's going to be no comments. So, like Knuckle and Shoot, right? They're cool.
From Hunter x Hunter,
Yeah, from Hunter x
we're
Hunter.
back.
We're back. Fucking Sakura. Um, they
We're
they're
off on some random tangent.
they
You
were
do
kind of
realize this.
yeah, but like Knuckle and Shoot are just kind of one-off side characters, right? But they
I love
still
them.
yeah, but they still kind of contribute, and it's you still form some kind of attachment, and there's still affected by the main plot because there is a lot of just shows or books, whatever, in general, where they introduce a lot of characters, but they don't affect anything. Nothing affects them. Like if you were to look at the characters and then look at like the story that they're involved in, of like, okay, does this story affect them at all? But not really. Like Foxy. Foxy was just kind of there for
From One Piece.
from One Piece for just comic relief.
He's not even comical.
Yeah, yeah.
But my comment on this cult, like for the viewer to become attached to someone, like it has to be done right, which I do agree One Piece does really well, even for like the little side characters and stuff. Um,
Laboon.
I think, I think that Hunter x Hunter does lack in that. And if we can move on to the next arc, I can tell you why. I have very strong feelings about this. Is like my comment on this going into the Chimera Ant arc is legit what prompted this whole conversation and podcast, pretty much.
Did you want to make an entire third episode of just Chimera Ant arc and ending?
No, because
Right.
I only have. I don't think so. How long have we been talking?
An hour.
Seriously?
You keep ranting. I'm trying to keep you on point, and you're talking about how Sakura sucks and nobody likes her. Start bringing up One Piece and doing character and story analysis with Oda. I'm trying to keep you on task.
This is all you. You stop bringing in One Piece, and you actually, I brought Yu Yu Hakusho into it. No, you did. You did, because you said Hiei Light. Oh, you are just all over the place,
Hiei
sir.
Light. It was relevant to this story.
I know, but you can't blame me for not staying on topic when you are just as bad.
No, I was purely on topic, 100%. All Hunter x Hunter.
You lost me so bad in that last part, though.
I know, I lost myself.
Until you like brought it back. And then I was like, oh, I know where he's going with this. But then it like leads us into the Chimera Ant arc. And I have very strong feelings about the Chimera Ant.
Yeah. Like, I do too. It's my favorite arc. I would say it's the best arc in the show. It's also has the biggest complaints. Just more personally.
I have a very big complaint.
It's more like personal feelings, I guess.
Mine is not personal. Mine is a legit complaint.
I feel like it's personal. But so the Chimera Ant, I think, is one of the best arcs in anime, period. Story wise. Execution, no. But the themes, the plot, the story, the characters, I think it's one of the best.
That's a very bold statement that you just made.
In anime?
Yeah.
No?
Like, out of all animes?
Well, all animes that I have seen.
Yeah. Like, dial it down, man.
No, I stand by. I'll fight that. Like, for the stories and themes and the just the introspective theories of human evolution and nature that the arc goes through, like, I think it's a damn good story in literature, period. Not even really anime, but for anime, I think it's one of the best story arcs ever written. Again, execution is a different matter, and that's where some of the problems that I have are.
Yeah. We have been talking for an hour. I know that we went off on a lot of
You
tangents and
went off on
everything.
tangents. I stayed on point.
I will fight you, motherfucker.
Bring it.
Uh, I do want to keep these in like short doses for people, you know?
Yeah. Well, I guess it kind of subjective because is an hour and 10 minutes short doses.
A podcast, I think, because like sometimes they're like 4 fucking hours.
True. Yeah, the Joe Rogan's like usually 2.5 at minimum.
We're not supposed to talk about him. He's like canceled or something.
Uh, I don't know.
We didn't just mention his name. Just kidding. I don't follow. I just know that people are trying to cancel him.
People have been trying to cancel him.
Yeah, but some people who like had endorsed him in the past are like um they've recanted now. But anyway, we're
Which
not getting
I
into
think is
that.
just dumb because I feel like they knew to begin with, and it was common knowledge that those things were said. And like honestly, you really think that The Rock cares that Joe Rogan said the N word? Really? You really think
I
that?
don't know.
Fuck
I'm
no.
not
He
having
didn't give
this
a
come
shit, and he probably
I'm
knew
not
about it. He didn't care.
I'm not
But
I
once the
have
public gets involved, I mean, like, granted, he was a bitch for saying, "Oh, I don't support that." Like, motherfucker, you knew. Like, really? Fucking jabroni. Sorry, I'm done.
just caused a yeah. Well, I agree with you. I think because he said that he was like close friends with him and stuff, then he would know those things. But
Yeah, and if it's like a common thing, because I think he just said it once, right, on a like a podcast.
I don't know. I honestly
But
don't know.
even if he
I
said
think
it,
it was more than once though.
yeah, but even if like it was part of his regular vernacular, if he was close friends with The Rock, you really think they didn't call each other that, or he didn't call The Rock that? If they were that good of friends and he said that word that often, fuck no.
Maybe not call him it, but I think that The Rock would know that it was in his vernacular. Maybe
Yeah,
not call him directly it.
and
I
he
don't
wouldn't
think he would.
fucking care.
I don't know. I don't know The Rock personally. I can't speak to that.
As a close friend of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I I can safely say that he did not give a fuck that Joe Rogan said the N word.
Oh, why are we having this conversation? Are we editing that out?
Fuck no, we're leaving all of this in.
Well, if you have made it this far,
I am so sorry. Not really.
please write below.
If you
Um,
think The Rock endorses the N word in his
no,
private life,
don't. No. Tyler, no.
fine.
We are gonna, if you've made it this far, please comment
Why Sakura sucks.
yes. No, because they might do that later. Like,
Well, they're
in
probably going to
earlier.
do that anyway because, again, nobody likes Sakura.
If you've made it this far, I'm sorry.
Pretty much it. There are no refunds. We can't give you your life back.
No, we can't repay you for the hour of your life that you just lost. But what we can do is prolong the distance between the time that we take another hour of your life. I
Yeah.
think we still talked about shit though.
Yeah. Whether it was interesting or not is a different matter.
I was engaged. I thought you were riveting.
Aww. You didn't even know what I was talking about half the time.
I just that one time where you went on that like One Piece thing. I guess we can call this bloopers at the end, right?
I don't know.
Um, But yeah, I do want to keep this in smaller doses because, like, the people that I think are actually gonna watch this are like working people who have families.
So no homeless people are going to be watching the podcast.
It's your problem.
What? I'm just saying. Like, obviously they're going to be working people. I mean, unless they're children, then you
No,
shouldn't be listening to this anyway.
I wasn't, I did, I meant people who don't have a lot of like free time.
That's it. I'm going to TikTok. Annie does not want homeless people watching her podcast. Canceled.
Okay, you are like going against everything that Nerd Army stands for.
I'm not
It
the
is
one that hates
hurtful.
homeless people. That's you.
You're being hurtful. Um, but yeah, so I guess we only made it through 2 arcs.
Yeah. But I don't know. Chimera, and there's going to be a lot more tangents. And there's going to be a lot more discussion.
Fighting.
Yeah.
We don't see eye to eye on my comment. But I personally believe that the only reason that we don't see eye to eye is because you've seen the previous anime and read more of the manga than me.
No, I agree with you. But I can just excuse more of it because I have
I
seen it.
cannot.
But I agree with your thought process.
You agreeing with my thought process and agreeing with what I actually said are completely different things.
But I understand what you said and I can sympathize. And I feel the same way, just a little less.
Angry about it?
Yeah.
I just wanted the feels, okay? I just really wanted the feels and the feels weren't there. And it was due to lack of execution.
Well, there's
Thought out.
execution, just bad.
Well, all right, guys. If you've made it this far, please comment. Tyler is controversial.
I am adorable. And a hoot.
You are a hoot. If you've made it this far, please comment below that Kyler is controversial. And if you've made it this far, I love you very much. And if you've made it this far, I hope that you didn't fall asleep. And that's the only reason why you have made it this far.
And if you've made it this far, comment below. I have made it this far.
Yeah, I want to know. Like, it's really important to me. Because
It needs validation, people.
No, no. It's more like I want to see who is supporting the content. Because if we ever do something, you know, like a giveaway or something like that, I don't want to just do some random thing. I would want to do something for someone who has stuck around and who's supporting the content, you know? Not some random who just watched once and won the giveaway.
Also, let us know what other things you would like us to talk about and for me to be controversial about.
We just need to stay away from real life issues.
Yeah.
That was bad. That was bad form.
You brought it up. Huh?
You did. You did.
No, you did. Because you talked about him being canceled.
You brought up his name, which then made me say that.
Well, then you shouldn't have said that. Why are you instigating? I just brought it up as an example, but you went further.
I was trying to get you to shut up.
Then why would you talk about it? Why would you respond instead of just changing the subject? You're a bad interviewer.
Okay, guys. Well, stay tuned. We haven't decided. Well, it will be decided by the time these go live about the frequency of which these will go live. We're either gonna do weekly or every other week. So keep an eye out. They will be posted on Fridays at 6 p.m. CST on Lady Antidote. Please also go check out, shameless plug here, Kyler Specs' um, YouTube. He does Final Fantasy shit and Minecraft shit, and I like his content, but I'm kind of biased. But go show him some love.
And it is a lot worse
And
than this podcast, so I apologize in advance to that.
you're not bad.
I'm not good, though.
I think you're good. I think you're creative. Anyways, so I hope to see you in the next one. Please, again, write in the comments. I made it this far and Kyler is controversial.
And a hoot.
If, and a hoot! If you have made it this far, if you fell asleep, I'm glad we were able to give you
Some
the
rest.
lullaby you need to fall asleep. Like, it's important that you get your sleep. So, all right, guys. Peace out, Nerd Scouts, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for stopping by for Expert Nonsense.
Toodles.